Moving on, the Endorois community living around Lake Baringo and Lake Bogoria continues to stare at extinction and is currently fighting hard to exist. A report by rights group International released on Tuesday this week features the Endorois as one among the few communities in Africa that continues to fight for its rights and compensation to no avail. Now, as Willie Lusige now reports, members of the community were recently evicted by nature after Lake Bogoria and Lake Baringo flooded, displacing them.
For many years, Kenyans were accustomed to the long journey of the Oge community, one of the few of Africa's last remaining forest dwellers in the corridors of justice, fighting to continue living in the Mau forest, which is the ancestral land. The Oge has sought justice from right here in Kenya to Banjui, then Arusha, but all has not been a bed of roses. But little is known about the Endorois, a community that is semi-nomadic, pastoral community whose members were evicted from the ancestral land in and around Bogoria in Kenya's Rift Valley in the 1970s.
As you know, Endorois has a long struggle for land rights because they were dispossessed their land because to create way for tourism reasons.
As the Endorois lodged a case before the African Commission on Human and People's Rights challenging the lack of consultation or even compensation for the forced displacement, the two lakes began flooding on what has been linked to climate change. The rising water levels in Lake Bogoria has not only caused large-scale displacement, but also increased incident of human-animal conflict, displacing more than 3,000 members of the community with nowhere to run to.
We began our long journey for land rights from there. So it is a long way. It started in 1975.
The community was forcefully evicted in order to pave way for the creation of a national park and a tourist site with the pledges of compensation or alternative land allocation. The displacement forced the community to migrate and find refuge along the shorelines of Lake Bogoria and Baringo.
We are now facing eviction because of a natural disaster, that is climate change. Waters of Lake Bogoria started rising up from 2010.
Their health centers have been submerged. They cannot access their cultural sites. This adds to the marginalization that the Endorois already face.
The Minority Rights Group International report indicating that even though a landmark decision was adopted by the African Union on 2nd February 2010, which declared the expulsion of Endorois from the ancestral land as illegal, the community has been left to survive on its own with no place to call home.
Encourage them to form a network so that they can be able to speak with one voice.
The government of Kenya has been accused of refusing to implement the court's ruling in totality.
There is another case for the Endorois, which we also won in the year 2010. Up to now, it has never been implemented. So there is a case of impunity in Kenya where government does not respect court judgments.
The minority report shows that a number of minority communities living in Kenya, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Namibia, Niger, among others in the world, have been denied their rights by governments. Willie Lusige, KTN News, Nairobi.
Thank you, Lusige, for that story. Now to